Hello, and welcome. Speaking of eventually, I was looking into getting a new notepad because this one's getting filled up. I think I have one more page left.
Okay.
I wanted to get like a TARDIS-themed Doctor Who notepad for all the notes, and then like a sonic screwdriver pen. How cool would that be?
It'd be cool. I don't know if they make them.
They do. I was looking. I don't know about the pens, but I saw some notebooks online. I was checking on. It's called Wish, and it's just the worst website. It's just really, bottom of the barrel online retailers that are. It's like, imported really, really cheap stuff, and it's just, you're basically paying for shipping, and that's all it is. It's kind of like gambling. Like, you don't know if you're gonna get what you actually order. Like, quality-wise, sometimes you find some deals, but you never know what you're getting, so it's always just like a roll of the dice when you order things, which is fine if you're buying like an auxiliary cable or something. I wouldn't, recommend trying to get more expensive components on it. But I was looking for notebooks and they didn't have it, so I guess I'll have to go through an actual accredited online retailer. But I was looking at them, and there's some on Amazon that look really cool. Maybe someday I'll just get like an iPad to take notes on, and I'll put like a Doctor Who TARDIS cover on the back, and that way it'll be digital. I won't have to worry about running out of pages. I just type up my notes, and then
I think the pages thing is fun.
But then it'll be like a digital database. Whenever I try to go back and reference old serials, I can just like search by keywords or something. Just a little notepad.
Where's the fun in that? All right.
It's so much fun.
No. Okay. Hello. Welcome to
welcome.
Drunk. I'm Hatter. Welcome to Drunk Doctor Who.
This is Hatter.
What are you drinking today?
I have been drinking Twisted Teas.
And I've been drinking screwdrivers made from, of course, orange juice and Russian standard vodka. My favorite vodka. Alright, this is the 34th episode of Drunk Doctor Who. It is October 14th, 2019.
Today is?
Yeah, that's today. And the name of it is the Macra Terror. There's 4 episodes. Currently, Reconstruction. It has been animated. Unfortunately, the animation has not been released in the United States as of yet. It's supposed to be released in the US sometime in the next 6 months or so. We just don't know when. There's not a specific date on it, but it has been released like 6 months ago in the UK.
Our deadline keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah.
But why? But why though?
I don't know why.
Why won't they give it to us Americans?
Well, they will eventually.
Racism.
They will.
They want taxation without representation on our Doctor Who DVDs. We'll throw them into the harbor.
But this is the loose cannon Reconstruction, which is I will throw away as soon as I get the official one.
Into the harbor.
All we have to watch. No, in the harbor. We don't have a harbor. We're landlocked.
We'll have a tea party with Twisted Tea.
See, there you go. So anyway, the 4 episodes were aired from 3/11/1967 to April 1st, 1967. The companions were Ben, Polly, and Jamie. And as the antagonist, the Macra.
Speaking of politics.
What?
We had the Revolutionary War over taxation without representation.
Well, amongst other things, yeah.
Now we have taxation, but how do you feel our representation is as we the people in our government? Do you think we have true representation in our government, or?
Yes, but I don't want this podcast to become a political thing. Everything else has become infused with politics. Now, sometimes I touch closely to that, but I would rather not get politics into every single aspect
Separation of government and religion. Separation from politics and entertainment.
Yes, I would prefer. Like, I don't like the the people who have to inject politics into sports. I don't want the politics in sports. I don't want the politics in entertainment. I love politics, and I follow politics very closely. And I could do a political podcast, but this should, generally speaking, remain free of pure politics.
Now, what's really frustrating with politics, really embedding itself into every aspect of your life, like entertainment and social media and stuff, is it's always biased and partisan, and you're getting one side of it. Well, what do you feel about political conversations through just like a general, educational topic, like general government, not so much biased or partisan, but just general questions like, what's our representation like as we the people?
Generally speaking, we live in a democratic republic, which means that we elect our representatives, but they're bound by the republic of the framework of the Constitution, so that we have very specific rights. So, as a note, if you don't know, we live in America, Texas, to be specific. I'm talking about the American government. If you're watching this because you're a Doctor Who fan, you live in the United Kingdom, you have a completely different set of rules and laws.
No one's watching from that.
Probably not.
Let's check out
but they
analytics on the YouTube channel. I think you can check out. You can see where your viewers are from if they're logged in. They'll tell you their country and the age. You get demographics and stuff on your channel. It's just interesting.
I don't want demographics.
It's like, what are the average age of my viewers? Where are they from?
Okay, that assumes we.
I have some watching.
That assumes we care about that. I mean, we're doing this for fun. Okay,
it's just interesting.
If we have 2 viewers or 2,000 viewers, the whole point is we're doing this for fun, for us, and we're watching, and we're drinking, and we're doing this to entertain ourselves as well. Huh? You know what?
You're having fun?
Yeah!
Okay.
You're not having fun.
Sure.
You're not having fun. You're not doing this right. It's kind of like sex, Yeah. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Hey.
If you're doing it wrong, it's still kind of fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. If you're not having fun, you're doing it really wrong. Doctor Who actually touches on politics several times during the course of the show. They have...
Like European politics?
Well, yeah, very specifically the United Kingdom politics, but also European and occasionally American. During the Pertwee years, the Third Doctor, they have a few things that touch upon a lot of environmental stuff. They get more explicit during the Sixth Doctor when they have a Margaret Thatcher-like character. In the modern day stuff, with Whittaker, they've had basically a Donald Trump character, who's the current American president. So for anyone in the UK who doesn't follow international politics at all. But so they will occasionally touch upon politics, and usually Doctor Who politics is on the left.
So it's
right, because they made fun of Margaret Thatcher, they made fun of Donald Trump. Really? They're for the environment. All those are leftist positions. But with the exception of the modern uber feminism in Doctor Who, it's not too invasive. And if it's not too invasive, I don't care. It's like, I can forgive a little bit of whatever. It's when it completely overtakes and suffuses everything that gets really annoying.
Now, a lot of people are complaining about how the feminism movement and the sexuality movement in media is being overrepresented only because they're trying to, milk those viewers for revenue. They're like, oh, this is a popular topic. We're going to support that just so we can get, those people to buy our movies, to watch our shows. And a lot of people are calling out media shows and movies saying, oh, you're making all these feminist characters just because, you're trying to make money. And it's especially relevant in like clothing brands, like popular clothing brands like Nike and Old Navy. They're going, into politics and into different social issues just because
Nike did that specifically by hiring Colin Kaepernick to be their spokesman. And there's a current big flap with the NBA and with Blizzard over stuff happening in China. But once again, don't want to make this a political podcast. We're talking about Doctor Who and entertainment.
Well, okay.
Yeah, just stick with Doctor Who. Hey,
sorry, I'm a little tipsy.
Yeah, no problem. And I understood you want to talk about it, but all that stuff has infused every single other aspect of our lives and our culture at this point. I mean, we've
our entertainment and Doctor Who,
right?
So it's kind of hard to
right. And I've ranted against it, Captain Marvel and all that crap, and the new Star Wars and all that crap, and but until we get there in current Doctor Who, I'd rather leave such topics for later, so that people who don't want politics in every aspect of their lives can enjoy this without the politics.
I agree. I agree, because I think there should be a separation of politics and entertainment, because no matter how unbiased or unpartisan you try to, talk about these issues, you always split, your audience. You split your viewership. You split the political climate is so that it's so entrenched in partisans that there almost can't be a rational conversation between the two anymore, because the two are just so far apart now. There used to be rational discussions and your choice, my choice. I can tell you, but now it's just becoming so aggressive that you don't even want to touch the topic, because you don't know if the person you're talking to might disagree with you, will all of a sudden, look at you as a whole different person. They don't want to associate with you anymore. And that's especially relevant when you have an online presence, I think. Correct,
which is why I'm not on social media. I don't like social media.
Separated.
This YouTube channel is the only, I guess, social media I do. But anyway, so the Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie, getting away from politics. The Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie.
Give us a recap.
Land on this planet.
What happened? Was it not Earth? Is it
no,
Earth colony?
No, it was an Earth colony. They specifically mentioned that they come from Earth.
By colony, that means they've colonized another planet. It's not like a colony on Earth.
No, it's another planet. They specifically mentioned they came from Earth centuries ago.
Okay.
They land on this planet and they see what looks to be a utopian vision.
Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think we're going to get to the point where we're colonizing other planets?
Yeah.
Or do you think humanity's just going to crumble before we reach that peak of technology to where we're able to actually...
Dude, we're really close now.
We're getting there. We're getting space travel down.
Yeah.
But there's so many issues of terraforming and atmosphere and oxygen. Do you think it'll ever get to a point where those people are self-sustainable on other planets like the Moon and Mars? Like we can have a self-sustaining colony. So if Earth, say environmentally collapses, or economically society collapses on Earth, that Mars is just going to be able to sustain itself without support from Earth.
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
I feel like
Mars has
the end is near.
Don't back to politics. Don't listen to the stupid greeny crap.
Thermodynamics, we do have finite resources on Earth because,
what finite resources are there?
So
we can desalinate water, which happens naturally anyway when rain comes down. We can regrow trees. We can regrow plants. The sun provides all of the resources there. Unless you're talking about the sun, which is going to go out for millions or billions of years, what finite resource are you talking about?
Energy, our current energy resources, like fossil fuels. Are we going to get to renewable energy sources before,
First of all, there's more fossil fuel reserves today that are discovered than there were 50 years ago. Okay. We keep finding more and more and more sources for fossil fuels. In fact, and we develop new technologies like fracking that
the natural gases,
right, that allows us to tap into other things. have several hundred years worth of fossil fuels that we know of right now. And in the future, we'll discover more. We keep discovering more. We're not going to run out anytime soon, no matter what some people think. And the world's not ending anytime soon, no matter what some people think.
What about like natural disasters, like mega volcanoes creating tidal waves and tectonic plate shifts, or the ozone?
Okay, the ozone hole repaired itself. If you look at the crap from the early 90s and you look at the ozone hole now, it's completely repaired. This planet, whether you believe it happened by happenstance or whether you believe it was created by God, has an amazing ability to fix itself. Radiation is eventually absorbed and diffused.
Hundreds of years, right?
Well, no. Chernobyl only happened a couple decades ago, and it's not that bad anymore. The ozone hole fixed itself. The ocean cleans itself. Despite what we as humans think, we can't put a dent, with the exception of an all-out nuclear war, which would take a while to clean up. We can't really put a dent on this planet that it can't fix. One volcano blast emits more CO2 into the oxygen than mankind does in an entire year. And that's one volcano blast. The Earth is designed to heal itself. Mother Nature is nurturing and heals, and for mankind to believe that it can have a true lasting effect on this planet is hubris in the extreme. We can't really damage this planet in the way people think they can,
Well, what if like nuclear warfare wipes out all life on Earth?
First of all, it wouldn't wipe out all life on Earth. There's no way for it to wipe out all life on Earth.
All sustainable life.
Oh, no. I mean, there will always be things that survive. Even if mankind is mostly wiped out, there will be some people in some areas that survive. Even if certain species are destroyed.
What if those people aren't able to continue to survive because of, food and resources?
Okay, there are people that live in Alaska, in the Arctic, that live solely on whale blubber. Okay,
those people really exist?
Yeah, they're called Eskimos. Or, sorry, what's the modern term? Inuits. They live up there, and they, believe it or not, despite the fact they live almost totally on whale blubber, they don't have heart conditions the way the rest of us do. Where there is life will find a way to survive. And even if we destroy, let's say a giant tsunami hits. It might take out LA. It might take out Miami. We're in Lubbock, Texas, on the Cap Rock. There's no way in the world it's getting up here.
Let's up the ante. What about
oh my gosh,
outside influences like a giant asteroid hits the Earth, causes Earth cloud or ash cloud over the Earth, cooling.
And supposedly that happened, right? And it killed the dinosaurs, right? But we're here. We're alive. Life finds a way to survive. Even if all the dinosaurs were wiped out by a giant asteroid, we're still here. Maybe it'll be giant intelligent cockroaches in a million years. Who knows? I don't think so. I think we're gonna have a rapture long before then. But even if that is the case, life will survive.
So you think it's inevitable that humans, given enough time, will eventually spread throughout our solar system, colonizing planets and
further, yeah. If given enough time, we will terraform Mars, one of my favorite board games. Like I was trying to say earlier, there's a lot of water on the north and south pole of Mars. It's ice, and in fact, the Ice Warriors we'll get to in Doctor Who. Okay, bringing it back to Doctor Who. There's the Ice Warriors on Mars.
All roads lead to Doctor Who.
Yes, all roads lead to Doctor Who. And all you have to do is you have to get a colony up there. You can terraform the planet, or you can have it under a dome or whatever. But with enough water there, it's self-sustaining. You create an atmosphere with oxygen and carbon dioxide from plants, and you can eventually terraform the whole planet and make a full, proper atmosphere around the whole planet. But you just need to start in one spot. But it will eventually be completely self-sustaining.
Elon Musk was talking about that. There needs to be like global warming on Mars before that the water is able to melt, and he talked about nuking the poles on Mars.
Well, even in the board game Terraforming Mars, you have to increase the oxygen. Yeah. You have to put out oceans for the water. You have to increase the heat, and that's what you need to do in order to terraform. And one of the ways to do it is by creating, throwing asteroids at the planet or nuking parts of it. But yeah, it's all doable. It is seriously doable. And
I guess I'm a pessimist. Okay. That's why.
and in the meantime, even while we're theoretically running out of fossil fuels, which I don't think we will, we have other technologies that are advancing that give us hybrid cars like I drive, that increase the fuel efficiency.
Right.
That will eventually give us warm fusion. It'll eventually give us real proper renewable fuels, not the crap we have now. With the wind power and the solar power that don't work enough.
I think wind power is
inefficient.
Decent. It's not very well. I agree with solar power is not as efficient as we like it to.
Right. And the problem hydropower has been utilized great forever.
That's been the most successful.
Windmills have used the wind power, and water wheels use the hydropower, and you have dams that block the water, and the water spins at your and that's all great. That's awesome, because the Earth naturally evaporates the water in the atmosphere and then drops it again into the rivers, and then we can use it again and again and again.
Now those big wind turbines, what do you call them? The white ones with the
bird killers. That's the problem, is they kill a lot of birds. The environmentalists would be up in arms about all the deaths of all the birds if they did not believe in the wind power stuff. But actually, the future of renewable energy is nuclear.
I agree. Nuclear energy is way more efficient than.
Modern nuclear power plants are infinitely safer, infinitely more manageable, and they could take us easily within 30, 40 years, completely off of every other need for power.
I guess I don't know enough about nuclear because I didn't know it was renewable. I knew it was efficient, but like, where does the
thing is you take one type of uranium and you.
But that's a finite resource in the Earth, right? That's not like a. How is that renewable?
Okay. Once again, as we continue to find more fossil fuels and we find more diamonds and we find more gold and whatever, we will continue to find more uranium. There is a lot of this planet we have not even barely touched. There are giant chunks of the ocean that have never been mapped, never been looked at, never been found. That's why we keep finding species we thought were extinct millions of years ago, and then we find one off the coast of Madagascar because they live in the oceans, and there's giant chunks of the oceans and giant chunks of the world. Whether it be deep enough or whether it be ocean deep or into the rock deep or what have you, we just haven't explored it. And there's a lot of stuff out there.
Is uranium like an activated what's the word? Not chemical, but what
isotope?
Where does uranium come from? Like, that's a mineable mineral?
It's a mineral.
But does it need to be activated by like chemistry? Like, does it need human interaction to become?
Okay.
I don't really understand uranium.
Yeah, I'm vague on it myself. I think that certain types of uranium can be found naturally in the earth, and I think that certain types of it have to be, even though it can be found naturally, usually are man-made. There are certain elements that are completely man-made, like californium or some stuff like that. But there are certain elements that can be found naturally or can be man-made, and it's just I'm not 100% on how nuclear power plants get the uranium and how they work it. All I know is you take the heat off the radiation from them and it boils water and it makes all that stuff happen. It turns it into hydro and then all that. But there are a lot of countries these days that get, I think France gets like 80-90% of its electricity off of nuclear. And that's awesome. Several countries have been going off of nuclear due to environmental concerns, which is silly because that's probably the best thing for the environment. And true environmentalists, there are some honest ones that will admit that nuclear is the way to go.
TED Talks. There are a lot of great TED Talk videos about that.
Yeah, I don't know who TED Talk is, but okay, dude, off of politics.
So, speaking of wind turbines, in Texas, West Texas specifically, very flat. There's a whole lot of wind turbines.
Right.
My girlfriend Sarah, she's from East Texas. Valleys, trees.
Well, yeah,
no wind turbines.
It's got a lot of Louisiana that moves into it with the trees, and you got the hill country down near Austin, San Antonio.
So, East Texas, very beautiful valleys, trees.
West Texas,
not really efficient for wind turbines. So the first time she came to Lubbock, West Texas, where it's flat. It was at nighttime, and she saw the blinking lights from all the wind turbines.
Yeah.
But it was dark, so she couldn't see the wind turbines, so she just saw the blinking lights. She's like, what are those?
Well, yeah. Okay. For those of you who don't know, in West Texas, it's very flat.
Very flat.
We are the South Plains. So you got the giant Great Plains in the United States. It goes from here.
Permian Basin.
We have the Permian Basin, but I'm talking about the South Plains in general. The Permian Basin is a specific section with a lot of oil. So the Great Plains run here from Texas, and they go all the way up to the Dakotas, I think, or somewhere up there. We are what's called the South Plains, the south bit of it. In fact, our local college is South Plains College. We have 3 universities and a college in this town, and that's a lot for a city of our size of 300,000 people. Texas Tech University with about 40-something thousand students. Lubbock Christian University with I think about
it's a private
5,000?
Private university.
Right. Wayham Baptist University has a campus here. That's my wife's alma mater. Mine's Texas Tech. And then South Plains College.
That's the community one. There's
Community college, yeah.
Virginia College. I don't even know what that is.
I don't think they went.
I don't know if that's.
I think they went under.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it like a cosmetology school now?
I don't know. That's one of those things like University of Phoenix. Do your stuff online. I think it's one of those diploma mills. But anyway.
How do you feel about this? Is that like a scam or?
How many tangents do you want to go on today? All right.
You brought it up.
No. I said you mentioned it. I simply said the diploma mills. Okay. Yes, they're a scam. All right. At least that's my opinion. All right.
Why is that your opinion? Like it's still a diploma is a diploma, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I could have a diploma from Westfordshire University, and it's not going to mean as much a diploma from Texas Tech University.
So employers look at not only the diploma, but where you obtain the diploma from?
Yeah, if I have a degree from Texas Tech University and you have a degree from Oxford, you're getting the job and I'm not, okay? All the things being equal. Because you have a better education and it shows that, at least in theory, you're smarter and you
because it's a more exclusive college.
Prestigious, yes. Prestigious and inclusive. That's not always the case. There's a lot of people buying their way in these days and legacy stuff, and in fact there's a big scandal going on with people who purchase fake test scores for their kids. Yeah, it's crazy. It is, and there's some people from the Hallmark Channel.
I'd like to do that. Just buy a diploma.
You basically can. But anyway, where the hell were we? What do you?
Doctor Who. You're telling us a recap of what was going on. And
okay, good. Okay,
Macra Terror.
So, okay, don't think the world's gonna end anytime soon, and don't believe
it
that,
might.
Okay. in theory. When I was a kid, they were yelling about global cooling. No, when I was a really young kid, they were yelling about overpopulation. Then when I was a kid, it was global cooling and the coming ice age. Then it turned into the ozone layer. Then it turned into global warming. Now it's climate change. But every step of the way, they're wrong. We didn't hit a new ice age. The world didn't hit overpopulation. The warming is stopped. The ozone layer fixed itself.
I mean, our population continues to climb.
It continues to climb, but at a very sustainable rate, and the growth in the rate of growth has very much subsided. So as countries become industrialized, and they no longer have to have a bunch of kids to make sure some of them survive to adulthood, they have fewer kids. In fact, a lot of industrialized countries have negative population growth, specifically Japan, specifically Europe. The United States still has a positive population growth, but it's due to only certain segments of the population.
I thought we were
like Mormons and Catholics. We have a slight decline, but it's not that bad. We partly have more people because of continuous influx of immigrants, legal and illegal. But there's certain segments of the population that are help keeping us from being as bad as Europe, mostly Catholics and Mormons. Most Protestants are just like Europe and Japan, and now China, I think, have a negative population growth.
China does?
Well, yes and no. They had a mandatory one-child policy for a long time.
I thought that was Japan.
No, that was China.
Oh.
They had a one...
I'm bad at geography.
Okay, hold on.
Global politics. China,
in the 50s, when it became purely communist, when they kicked General Chiang Kai-shek, off of mainland China to Formosa, which is now known as Thailand. Not Thailand.
China's history
Taiwan,
is very confusing,
which is now known as Taiwan. Okay, General Chiang Kai-shek. They then, when they controlled all of mainland China, they said, we may not have the technology of the United States and the West, but we'll beat them through pure manpower. So they said, everybody have lots of babies. Everybody had lots of babies. By the time the 70s and 80s hit, they went, crap, we have too many people. So they said, okay, every couple gets one baby. And this is like 70s, 80s, maybe in the early 90s. And they're like, so a lot of people had boys. If you got pregnant again, it was mandatory abortion. And a lot of people would find out they were having a girl, and they would abort the girl until they had a boy, because they wanted the name to continue. Which is the normal thing, is that names pass through men in most of the Western world. The only one I know of that is different is that Jews carry the Jewish faith through the women. So if your dad was a Jew and your mom was not a Jew, you weren't necessarily considered Jew, but if your mother was and your dad wasn't, you are.
I like Mexico's culture where you have the surname and then the maiden name, and then they have like two last names. So they have four names once they get married. They're like first, middle, and then their maiden name, and they're married.
They try to keep the mother and father's name, but
because it's a very maternal culture, so they
But then when they have the kid, they drop the mother's name anyway, and so you've got the two names from your fathers and your grandfathers or whatever, right? So all you're doing is you're perpetuating the female maiden name one generation, and you're making everything difficult in the process. But if you want to, that's your business. I don't care. It just makes for big names. Don't care. But here in the South, we have a tradition where.
As big in Spain, they had a whole bunch of...
Yeah, a whole bunch of names, yeah. Here in the South, we have a tradition where when a woman gets married, she'll drop her middle name, move her maiden name to her middle name, and then take the new last name.
Where is that?
Here in the South.
Here?
That's what my wife did. That's what my mother did. So my wife went from Lissa Rebecca Goebel, dropping Rebecca, moving Goebel to her middle name, Guimbelow for her last name. So she's Lissa Goebel Guimbelow. My mother did the same thing, and that's why she's Linda Fontenot Wilson.
But 2 middle names are semi-common, so why don't they just keep, first name, middle name, maiden name, second middle name?
2 middle names are only common amongst elites, amongst people with money.
I wouldn't say that because I had like friends growing up, like a whole family. They were really big on 2 middle names.
What do you mean, George
and they were
Walker Bush?
Not super well to do off. They just like.
But I mean, you look at royalty, and they've got like 2 or 3 middle names. I mean,
so legally, you like the legal limits to names are pretty lax. So like. Is there a limit to how many names you can have? Like, you go down to the court office, you say, I want to change my name. You can basically change it to whatever you want. Like,
pretty much.
Like, can you put, like, 5 names down?
Yes. Here in the United States, you can pretty much change your name to whatever you want to. Prince changed his name to a symbol. I legally changed my name to the Mad Hatter for 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it not Hatter? Oh, it's Gwimbelow.
Yeah. Theophile Nebuchadnezzar Gwimbelow is my name.
Okay.
So Mad Hatter was my name previous, and Robert was my name before that. I prefer my current name, but I still love the nickname the Mad Hatter, or just Hatter. That's why everybody just calls me Hatter.
Now, why is that you wanted to change names? Is that too personal? We don't have to get into it.
The first time it's because that's who I was and who I still am, Hatter, right? The second time, because I needed to mark a spot in my life where I gave my life over to God, and where, because Theophile is beloved of God or lover of God.
And that's something people used to do a lot, was take on Christian names after they...
Correct. You would sometimes have a Christian name as well.
And that's less of a... thing
nowadays, but yeah, I did that. I took my grandfather's name. It was his name, whole family name, and
Theophile was.
Yeah, in Creole it's pronounced Tophil, but same name. Theophile is the French pronunciation as opposed to the Cajun pronunciation, and Theophile would be the Anglo-Saxonization, the English pronunciation.
That'd be like what do you call it?
But I like Theophile, so I go with that. Nebuchadnezzar for the middle name, because just like the King Nebuchadnezzar of the Bible.
It's got me this far. The Nebuchadnezzar stone.
Well, no. Wait.
There's
I'm thinking of a different stone. But no, but just like Nebuchadnezzar, I lived like an animal for a long time. And then God said, "You shall be good." And I went, yes, thank you. I now acknowledge you, and I now know you are God, just like Nebuchadnezzar did. And then Gwimbelow, because that was my original last name. Okay. Slightly different spelling. I went with the E-A-U-X instead of O-T.
So kind of like how some people get tattoos with really emotional connections. Like, so your name is like a new...
Plus it worked out, because the Mad Hatter, I never would have gotten a loan from the bank to get the shop.
Really? They don't give you loans if you have...
No, you don't get loans with that kind of thing.
Don't they have like a non... What do you call it? An equal opportunity, non-bias.
Yeah, that only works to a point. But anyway, oh my God, how the heck did we get here? You are. So you were telling
you're
us worse than normal. You are so worse than normal today.
Which is weird because I'm more sober than normal.
Which is probably worth drink. All right.
You were telling us about the episode we just watched. What our recap?
Episode 34.
I'll let you cover the recap. I'll go to the bathroom so I can't interrupt you while you cover what happened this episode.
We need to start putting things at the beginning of the video. If you want to get to the actual meat of this video about Doctor Who, skip ahead to 35-minute mark.
I'll go in after you upload it, and I'll comment some timestamps. Or we could put it in the description.
Yeah,
of the video.
Timestamps would be better in the comments.
Because you can comment something, and as the channel owner, you can flag that comment to the top of the comment section.
Yeah, although I honestly believe if anybody watches all of this and all of these, they're probably watching it for the interaction of conversation with two drunk people anyway.
Well, this is the point of the podcast. But there's something weird with YouTube search options to where by default your comment section is sorted by most popular, which means the comments with the most likes go to the top of it. And then
you realize we have like 1 or 2 comments throughout all of our videos.
That's the problem with the algorithm, is with the less viewed videos, it might have 1 to 3 comments on it, and if you're by the default sorted most popular, they won't show up at all. Like if it's a comment with no likes or no replies, it's just not there. It says this video has 3 comments, and you scroll down and it's just blank because it says categorized most popular.
Yeah, I don't know. Facebook's weird. They're getting weirder.
So we do have some videos with comments on them.
Like
they don't show up under the default most popular. You'll scroll down, it'll just be blank. Even though it'll say 3 comments or 1 comment, it'll just be blank. Anyway, so I can comment some timestamps to get to the actual
talking about Doctor Who. Okay, we should at least get through most of Doctor Who before we get off on tangents.
But we would have to flag it to the top. Otherwise, we can put it in the description of the video.
I'm sure we can do that. Right, you go to the restroom.
I'll let you cover
the actual topic. Yeah. Oh my gosh. He does this every week. Okay. It's organic. There's no script. There's no syllabus. There's no anything. It's just we talk. And that happens a lot of times. Alright. So, the Doctor, Jamie, Ben, and Polly go to this planet that's Earth-like. And there's a colony from Earth on the planet. And the colony seems pretty utopian-esque, very idyllic. I-D-I-L-L-Y-C, idyllic. They go there, and as they land and they're going there, they capture this guy Murdoch accidentally because Murdoch's running away from the colony. The colony is very 1984-ish with a good dash of paranoia. The role-playing game Paranoia. Paranoia in general, but specifically the role-playing game, where there's the computer, but this time it's the controller. Although this serial predates Paranoia's role-playing game, it does not predate the novel 1984. It's very 1984-esque in the fact that there's always a screen around with a giant picture of the controller, kind of Big Brother-esque. Anyway, so they go to the colony. The colony indoctrinates people. It feeds them subliminally, and not even subliminally, messages while they're asleep, telling them that the colony is good. You love the colony. Everything is good in the colony. There's no such thing as the Macra. You will work. You'll be happy to work. You'll be happy to play. You love everything and everyone, and you will always obey all orders, and the controller is always right. And this stuff gets fed to them while they're asleep. So anyway, the guy, Murdoch, has seen the Macra, these giant crab things. And I mean, they're huge. They're the size of a VW bug, and he's seen them, and other people haven't because the colony keeps telling them they're not there. The controller keeps telling them they're asleep, they don't exist, and there's no threats. So they can't, in some cases, actually see what's physically in front of them because they've been told to not see them. Okay, so anyway, the Doctor and his companions are accepted in and greeted by the colonists. What are you doing? Stop that. by the colonists who've been there for hundreds of years. I mean, it's hardly fair to even call it a colony anymore. Wait, you're supposed to be drinking alcohol. Mm-hmm. Although I understand the need for water just to keep hydrated. Here's to keeping hydrated. So anyway,
there's just a pause in the audio with all the slurping.
Yeah. All right. So, the colony, being run by the controller, decides that the doctor and his companions need to be indoctrinated at night subliminally by the messages.
You're still on the first episode.
First to second. You weren't gone that long.
I made myself a drink.
And half the time I was commenting about you. Alright. So,
what are you saying about
that you do the same tangential stuff every week.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'll regenerate and I'll get a whole new personality.
No,
you won't have to
don't regenerate. It means you have to die first. No. You should outlive me by a long shot, but not if you keep sticking pins in the couch. Okay, so Ben succumbs to the nighttime indoctrination.
Yes.
Jamie wakes up. He doesn't like it. He knows that the voice is evil, although the voice talks gently.
Mm-hmm. Like the McCrillen Piper.
Yeah, the Piper McCrillen. So, but Ben, being a military mind, because he's in the Royal Navy, succumbs to the orders, as you would think a military mind would be more apt to do.
Cross that one out.
Yeah, and cross out 1984. I've already discussed that.
You talked about it.
Yeah, I talked about a few things.
What is 1984?
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Hey, so then...
But I just crossed it out.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, so the doctor ends up realizing what's going on when it comes to the indoctrination, and he short circuits the indoctrination modules. Because he's hyper intelligent, hyper wise, hyper knowledgeable. So he suspects that the only way these people can not see the danger is because of indoctrination. So he figures out what's going on, happens in their sleep, and he turns it off. Short circuits the fuses. Ben, unfortunately,
he doesn't get electrocuted while he does that.
Well, no, because apparently the piece of wire has a rubber tubing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've seen wire with the rubber casing.
Yes.
Yeah. So the doctor short circuits all the indoctrination nodes. The only person who has succumbed to them is Ben. Ben turns them in. In the meantime, the doctor has found Murdoch, who's escaped. Murdoch doesn't want to get the doctor in trouble, so Murdoch lies. Murdoch.
It's M-E-D-A... Oh, okay. M-E-D-O-K. Madoc. They pronounced it Madoc, but then someone else pronounced it
Medoc.
Medoc, yeah. It's kind of
inconsistent. They've got different pronunciations. So he helps Medoc escape because Medoc's like they're gonna send me for reprogramming. Then the doctor finds Medoc. They get captured, but Medoc lies that the doctor was trying to convince him to turn himself in. But then after the doctor short circuits all this stuff, the controller, the pilot, who's played by this great guy who was in the Adventures of Baron Munchausen, and shows up once more in Doctor Who during the Androids of Tara. Way down the line in the Fourth Doctor.
I don't know how you keep track of all these actors. Like the actor that played Medoc was going over all his different roles and different serials he played.
Right.
I can never remember those people.
Well, okay, for this actor, he's got that nose. It's a magnificent
Greek nose.
It's a
Jewish nose.
No. What's the hold on.
Roman nose.
No. Cyrano de Bergerac nose. Do you know Cyrano de Bergerac?
I don't think so.
All right.
This is why I need a tablet to do my notes. I can just pull it up and...
No. Cyrano de Bergerac is a guy in literary history. All right, he's a character. Had this big old nose, this fantastic nose, and he fell in love with a girl, and he ended up, but nobody would like him because his nose was so big. So
it's like a Shakespeare play, the guy with the really big nose, and he's like a sword fighter.
It wasn't Shakespearean, but it's in that tradition. Yes.
I think I know.
Okay, so he had the nose, and he was intelligent and witty and phenomenal, but because of the nose, nobody loved him. But he fell in love with a girl, and the girl liked this other guy, and he told the other guy the lines to save the girl while he was hiding in the bushes. And the girl falls in love with him, even though realistically she's falling in love with Cyrano de Bergerac.
And that's like a literary trope that goes on and on throughout different shows and movies.
Right, but this actor has that kind of nose. It's a good sized schnoz.
I didn't think it was that big.
It wasn't quite that big, but it was a good sized nose. But anyway, he shows up again as here he's a good guy in the end. He shows up again in The Androids of Terra, and spoilers, he's a bad guy there. And then he shows up.
I won't remember that.
Yeah, you won't. You probably won't remember by tomorrow.
The androids of what?
Terra.
The androids of Terra?
Terra. T-A-R-A.
Oh, okay.
And then he shows up in The Adventures of Baron Munchausen as the Grand Turk.
Yes.
And you can his voice is very distinctive. I love his voice. And the nose. But here he's so young that it's hard to recognize him, you know? But he's got that nose and he's got that voice. Love that voice. But anyway, so anyway, the pilot sentences them all at the behest of the commander.
To the pits.
To the pits. So they all go right. They all go down to the pits.
Is Olar the commander? Full of buttons.
No.
Yeah, the
Olar's,
controller, the pilot, and Olar.
Olar is the chief of police. Big colony, not a whole lot of people. So maybe about 50 of them is what we see, and they all seem to be reasonably young. But there's no kids. Didn't see any kids. Everybody looks about 20-something. Maybe 30, except the leaders, and they seem to be about 40.
So we can theorize that because it's like this weird communistic mind-controlled society.
Yeah, North Korea.
That maybe because they're all mind-controlled, they have intercourse periods throughout the generational timeline. So maybe once everyone gets to 30, they have kids, and then that way it creates a consistent population cycle. So maybe that's why there are no children.
That's very reasonable, actually. That's a really good idea.
Because they're like super brainwashed. They're like, we obey the controller. It is now time for us to have children.
Well, it's now time for the day shift to go and work. Now time for the night shift to go and work. We'll be happy doing it.
Curfew time.
Oh, but like, have you seen the movie Midsommar? You watched that with me, right? Okay. That same kind of beautiful movie, and I love it. But that same kind of style and scenario.
You're talking about the scary one, right?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, but
terrible.
No, it was a good movie.
The plot was weird. It was like graphic for the sake of shock value.
Oh no, not as much as some movies.
Nah.
But anyway, but no, that's actually a really good thought about the population age, about how they would listen to control. Anyway,
maybe that's why we didn't see any children, or like the only elderly person we saw was. We'll get to that.
The controller, right. So anyway, but he's shown as young. They took a picture of him when he was young originally.
Yes, and
so the doctor.
It's hard to catch on to that because it's the reconstruction, so you don't know it's just a still picture. We assume it's like a video.
No, I think it was the still picture.
Yes, you find that out later on when they're like, he's not. Is that that's just a picture? But we didn't really know that because it's a reconstruction, so they're all stills.
Right. So, except for the occasional video. We had occasional video from the Australian censor and from people taking video 8mm films of the TV.
So it took me a second, because it's a reconstruction, for that to click to go, oh, whenever the video comm of the controller comes on, that's just a still image of him. That, and that's why they're like, that's not,
That's not.
Here's the real controller.
All right, so
I looked at that at first.
Okay, so the doctor. All right, so Ben is still brainwashed, although he's fighting it, and you start to see him break through a bit. But the doctor, Ben, and Polly get sent down to the mines. The mines are not like, I mean, they're underground and everything, but they're not looking for gems or stones. They're looking for gas, and for some strange reason, the whole colony runs off this gas. The doctor gets no, not fracking. This is long before fracking was even an idea.
A funny word. Long after.
Well, yeah. So
it sounds like fragging, which is like a FPS term.
Yeah,
throwing a grenade at something.
Right. So the doctor gets left as a supervisor.
In like, what do you call it? Pre-high school?
Middle school? Yeah, junior high.
Junior high. That's what a lot of my classmates would say. And
instead of cursing.
Instead of the F word, they say, "Oh, frack."
Okay, I agree with that.
That's why
it's better than the F word. All right, so the doctor sits behind as a controller. Ben and Polly go down to the mines, and they're with Murdoch. Madoc. So Madoc, Ben, and Polly are down the mines, and they're there with Officia, who is an official without the L. Kind of lazy name writing.
Well, you kind of get this, all the people in control kind of had titles, like the controller, the pilot, Officia.
That's valid, actually.
Olar, that seems more of a name than a...
Ola.
Ola. It seems like more of a name than a title, but it kind of gets hard to tell because the controller and the pilot, we know those are titles.
Unless it stands for something like official law.
Yeah, Officia is kind of like a mix between a title and a name.
But Ola could be short for something like official law something.
Yeah, so they kind of have these weird hybrids of title names.
Okay, so I can roll with that. So Officia is a actually kind old man. He's just trying to get the gas and do what the controller tells him to do. Jamie manages to get the keys off him when he has too much of the gas and passes out. Ben doesn't turn him in because Ben is struggling, even though Ben sees him take the keys from the Officia. So Jamie escapes into the old shaft. Polly and Ben go back up to the control station. They're trying to take all this gas that is poison to humans but is necessary for the Macra to survive into the old shaft. There's a couple of Macra there. Eventually Jamie's...
They're kind of like in a hibernation state because it's like a low gas tunnel.
The giant crabs,
he throws a rock at one and it doesn't react until he pokes it and it kind of wakes up.
Why did he poke it with a stick? Why? I mean, let sleeping dogs lie. So, Jamie then ends up in the cave and he goes into a crevice, but the Macra come to get him, and eventually the salt and the rocks are falling down as they're opening up the fissure so they can grab Jamie and pull him out.
Which increases our death count by 2 Macras.
Right. Originally the gas is coming in.
Macra?
Either
Macra.
way. I think either way is fine. Macra. So the gas is coming in, the Macra are waking up. Jamie, of course, is dying because the gas is poisonous to humans. Eventually the doctor figures out how to reverse the polarities. Well, he never says it in this episode. He just gets the switches different. Intake, outtake. Till he gets oxygen in the old shaft, gets rid of the gas, so the Macra, one gets crushed by the falling rock, the other one I think ends up going back into hibernation from the gas.
Oh, I thought they both got crushed.
I'm unclear.
We're just going off of like
the Reconstruction
subtitle captions.
When we watch the animation, we'll have a better idea. Alright. So,
but the people animating it, how do they know? Do they just go by the Reconstruction?
No. They're going by the original
script.
Right, the original. What's it called? Not a script. The
telesnaps?
No.
Storyboard? The storyboarding?
Not storyboard. It's a script, but it's a script you write.
Playwright? The stage direction?
Yeah.
I don't know this.
Not a stage direction. It's but when you're writing specifically for a movie or TV show, you have a specific script style you have to go by.
This actor on this mark.
Right. And what's his face turns to the other actor. They have all that stuff in there, and I can't off the top of my head at this exact moment
between the brackets.
Right.
The non-dialogue in the script.
Right. All that crazy crap that explains everything. I think you said it, but anyway, so they go off the originals of that. Okay. So
because it's official, they have.
It is official, right?
So they scrapped all the footage, but they still have like those original scripts and everything.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So anyway, the Doctor and Polly get down to that shaft. They save Jamie. Jamie manages to burst out into a cheerleading group who are practicing cheers.
Communism, brainwashed.
Brainwashed. North Korea,
we
China
obey.
crap.
They're singing songs of.
Yeah, we obey the
controller.
The controller's always right. Yeah.
He choreographed North Korean type.
thing. But the Doctor and Polly see a white Macra, who's the supreme Macra controlling. He's actually the controller because they got him to show his claw when they wanted to see the original controller previously, and that controller was obviously not in control. But anyway, so they go in there, and then they get the pilot, convince the pilot that he needs to disobey the controller, and they convince him to go look, and then he sees that it's the Macra in control, and it's no longer the controller in control, and they convince him to help them turn off all the gas so all the Macra are wiped out, or at least
there's like some sort of explosion almost.
Ben does the explosion because the Doctor, Polly, Jamie, and the pilot get locked by Ola into the room with the pipes, and then Ben
is the savior,
who's better off,
saves the day.
Right,
which meant the Doctor was gonna die and regenerate again.
But Ben sneaks himself into the what's it called?
Control room?
The section above. The not the gurneys, the
scaffolding?
Yeah, but there's a different word for it.
I don't know.
Gables? Gobble? Anyway, he gives himself onto the scaffolding.
He sticks himself up in the gobbles.
Gobble. No, there's a word for it. It starts with a G. And
you're thinking of those like pulley things that the window washers are on?
No, it used the word during the Reconstruction.
Cherry picker?
No,
cherry picker crane.
Not a cherry. Anyway, so Ben manages to redirect all the gas and unredirect the gas, cause an explosion. The Macra die, and the Doctor, Ben, Polly, and Jamie are heralded as saviors, which they
probably
basically
means
are.
The old man brainwashed controller died too, because he's in that same room with the explosion.
Very likely.
Ben killed it.
I think he already died when he was shown, and the Macra went for him right there. I think he died then.
We don't count off-screen deaths. We had the one on-screen death.
That was on screen.
Well, they cut away. The one on-screen death
they cut
is Madoc.
It cut away during a Reconstruction. We don't know how much was shown on screen.
So there's 1 to 2 human deaths. There's 2 Macra deaths on screen. We have a bunch that died. The entire population of Macra died.
Well, no. The ones above surface died. The ones below surface post survived.
Oh, they didn't shut off their gas supply?
Well, no, they're down there with the gas. That's it. These are the ones above surface.
So they could rise again and take over. Although they never return, do they?
Yes, they do.
They do?
They do.
Madoc died.
No. The actor, when he said that in the 90s or the early 2000s, was speaking from his experience. But since then, the Macra have returned.
Like a modern...
in the modern revival of Doctor Who, the Macra Return.
No way. I'm always excited for
just
recurring
once.
villains.
Just once, but they do return.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's a different branch. They're not as intelligent as those.
Oh, so it's not the same Macra that...
Well, it is
it's
Macra.
like
it's a different branch of the Macra. Right. The same way we eventually get different branches of the Silurians.
So there's some sort of just like...
And we'll introduce those in the next Doctor, the Silurians.
The next one? Oh, okay. Well, that's this guy, right?
Yep. Pertwee is the third Doctor. Alright, so anyway,
I'm getting
okay, 1984.
I'm really bad with names, but... Yeah, let's talk about 1984. What is that? That's a book?
Yeah, it's a book written by George Orwell. It's also been made into a movie several times.
Successfully or unsuccessfully?
Reasonably successfully. Not a blockbuster, but it was pretty good, especially the one with the War Doctor. There's one that actually stars. Speaking of Doctor Who, speaking of meta.
All roads lead to Doctor Who.
Right.
It's canon. 1984's canon.
No, it's not canon. But the War Doctor, John Hurt, actually plays the protagonist in 1984. He's not on there.
He looks awesome though, with the trench coat and everything. He's just a real boss-looking guy.
Yes. All right. Hold on. You keep talking. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
No, I don't know what to talk about.
What do you mean you don't know what to talk about? Ask your question and ask him when I get back.
I'll just
use the restroom. All right.
I'll go off.
I'll be right back. He'll go off on a tangent. It doesn't matter.
He's going to the bathroom.
It's gonna be a long one, isn't it? Okay. All right.
Is the camera straight? It looks like it's tilting.
It's tilted down a bit. It's getting more or less the top row.
Is it straight across though? Because the tripod looks like it's like tilted that way.
Okay, it's good enough. All right, I'll do that.
Let me know in the comments below if your perception, if your view of the podcast is like slanted. Because I don't know. So, have you guys had a good weekend? How's your Tuesday going? My Tuesday's going great. Lots of work, keeping real busy. Working on my computer. I built my own really budget gaming computer because I'm broke. I'm a poor college student. But what happened was I ordered my computer parts. The motherboard showed up. I put it all together. I plugged it all in. I went to turn it on and it didn't work. So through lots of trial and error, we finally figured out, we plugged in new power supplies and we tried different things and we sort of narrowed it down to the motherboard is probably the problem. Probably the problem of why it's not booting on. So we think the motherboard has a short in it, some sort of circuit issue. So I got in contact with the manufacturers because they have like this 2-year warranty on it. So I sent in the motherboard because I made a warranty request and it took them like a week, but they finally responded to it and they're like, okay, yeah, send it in. And I had to fill out all these forms and we sent it into the manufacturer and that's where we're at now. It was delivered on Thursday, so I guess it takes them a while to work on it, to figure out what's wrong with it before they send it back. I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is my first ever PC build. It's been, I was encouraged to do a PC build my own gaming PC because everyone was telling me, oh yeah, it's super easy. It's like Legos for adults. You get better value, if you buy all your components individually on sales. It's much more affordable, or you get a lot better equipment than if you just buy a pre-built. But at this point, to be honest, I'm not really great at this. So I'm kind of wishing I went with a pre-built instead of buying it myself and putting it together because I'm not great. I'm not great at building PCs. I don't know a whole lot about the hardware. So I tried putting it together. I ran into this one problem sitting in my motherboard, which is the CPU. Because when you get the motherboard, you put the CPU in, and then you put the CPU cooler on, and when you screw it in, it like locks into place. I'm doing not an NVIDIA, but what's the other brand build? AMD? I'm doing an AMD build. AMD CPU and everything is compatible with AMD. and specifically with that CPU and the cooler, mechanically you just screw it into place and it clicks and it just locks, the cooler locks onto the motherboard. I'm telling them about how bad I am at building computers.
Oh!
This is my first PC build. So what happened was, I was building the PC, I put the CPU in, I screwed on the CPU cooler, it locked into place, it's very mechanical, it like clicks in and it locks, and then we found out that the motherboard was, it was short-circuited, and that's why the computer wasn't booting on. So after I contacted the manufacturers and got the warranty approved, and they said, yeah, send it in. So I was dismantling my PC, which I'm not great at. I don't know anything about computer hardware. I took everything out, and I got down to just the motherboard, the CPU, and the CPU cooler. And I looked up tons and tons of YouTube tutorials, and for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to take the CPU cooler off of the motherboard. And even if I did, I wouldn't know what to do with the CPU, if I should take that out, because it has like the thermal paste on it. So when you send in a motherboard for a warranty thing, I have no idea what to do with, the cooler and the CPU, because the CPU has the thermal paste on, and do you take that out before you send in just the motherboard? But I didn't really have to worry about that, because I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to take the cooler off. So I tried to get into contact with the manufacturers that's doing the warranty thing, and I sent them an email. I'm like, I don't know how to take the CPU cooler off. Can I just send in my motherboard with the CPU and the CPU cooler still on it? And they never got back to me, but that's what I ended up doing, because I didn't want to wait for them to respond. So I put it in the box, I put the bubble wrap, and I think I packaged it real well. But what happened was I sent in the motherboard with the CPU and the CPU cooler still on it. So they're probably going to get that package in, the warranty. They're like, okay, here's the motherboard. They're going to unbox it. It's still going to have the CPU and the CPU cooler on it. They're going to be like, what the heck? So
maybe they'll put them on the new one. I don't know.
Hopefully I get them back once they fix the motherboard.
I don't know. They may just send you the...
Hopefully they'll eventually respond to my email. I don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully it works out. I'm kind of regretting building my own PC at this point. I was telling them I tried to build my own gaming PC, because I was encouraged to do so by other PC enthusiasts. They're like, it's real simple. Building a PC is like Lego for adults. You get better value when you buy individual components on sale, and you put it all together.
Somebody else do it for me.
And yeah, now I'm at that point where I don't know what I'm doing, and I kind of regret it. I'm kind of wishing I just bought a pre-built, so I didn't have to go through the headache.
I pay experts to do my electricity, my gas, plumbing, and my car. The computer falls right in that same line. I don't know how to do it. I'd rather pay an expert.
Yeah. That's what I was wishing. That's what I'm wishing I had done.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the point where I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And I might as well have lost a little bit of value to just have all these headaches alleviated by professionals to just build. You may get a little less bang for your buck, but I'm probably causing more damage than anything. And I don't know anything about PC hardware.
Yeah. All right. So. Alright, so we finish up with the cereal, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
We covered the recap. No, we're still on how... Yeah, we finished. Okay. So we stopped at the Macra Terror was destroyed and the gas explosion.
Yeah,
and then...
Everybody's being celebrated, and they sneak out during the celebration, and it's a really abrupt ending.
It seems really rushed. I don't know if that's just the Reconstruction, but the whole choir is singing, and they present them with the... visitor's trophy or something.
Yeah, and
you say that people.
He's like, "Oh, they're gonna make me the new pilot. I'm out of here."
Yeah, they're dancing and they just kind of shuffle dance off stage, and then boom, credits.
And it's fair. The Doctor generally does not like a whole bunch of
attention,
authority.
Great. Okay.
He eventually becomes president of the Time Lords.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler.
President of the Time Lords.
Yes, and he eventually.
So we can say the Doctor's the most successful Time Lord.
Rassilon, okay, but he is somewhere in there. He's one of the most. And okay, there's 3 great Time Lords. There's Omega, Rassilon, and the other one. And at one point, it's implied that the Doctor's the other one.
Oh.
Never stated. This is during the 7th Doctor, but it's implied he's the other one.
Oh.
But at one point he becomes president of the Time Lords. At one point
he's kind of a free bird.
At one point he becomes president of Earth.
Earth.
Yes, president of Earth.
Brings me to my.
That's during the 12th Doctor.
That brings me to my next convoluted off-topic question of Doctor Who and the timeline.
What?
Which I have to write this out. We have, let's say, this is our timeline.
Yeah.
Linear. Let's say we have the past and the future, and let's specifically cover the timeline of Earth. So we have Earth in the past, Earth in the present, and Earth in the future. And the Doctor has many adventures in past Earth, where he goes in the past and experiences, say, the cavemen and the French Revolution and things like that. And then he has present...
The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's
Day Earth adventures, where he picks up, Ian and Barbara.
Right. Ben and Polly, whatever the current
sort of like the 1900s.
Current is, yeah.
And he goes to the future, and we have different events like
Dalek invasion of Earth.
The Dalek invasion of Earth. We have the Daleks' master plan as they're trying to take over the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
We have the first sighting of the Daleks on Gallifrey. We also have the first sighting
we're not exactly sure where this is.
We're not sure. It's like an Earth colony somewhere, right?
No, Gallifrey's not an Earth colony. Gallifrey is its own planet.
What about like the Earth's first sighting of the Daleks when they're on that one base, and it was just recently. It was they open up the ship and they find the Daleks, and then they
Power of the Daleks.
Power of the Daleks.
That's somewhere in the future, but it's not given a date.
Earth's future, but like they're from Earth, but they don't know who the Daleks are. So it's kind of like Earth's first interaction.
Well, yeah, but you don't know if it's before or beyond. A lot of this stuff is vague as to exactly what it is.
So it's an Earth colony that doesn't know what the Daleks are. And then we have the Daleks' invasion of Earth, and then we have the Daleks' master plan, and then we have Earth somewhere in their Antarctica base, and the first sighting of the Cybermen.
Right. Well, that was in 1980s.
Yeah,
that was the future. Now it's the past. Yeah.
So here's our timeline, and it gets kind of convoluted after a while, after so many years of the Doctor Who show. And they kind of write out the entire timeline of Earth. Very much like, are you familiar with Castlevania? The video game series, very successful. It's a video game series about Dracula and vampire slayers.
When I was a kid, they had it, the early versions on
Nintendo,
Apple IIe's. No, the Apple IIe.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a really early home computer that they had in schools when I was a kid.
Okay.
And they had it on there. And then later on it went to other things, but that's all I know of it. It was the original stuff. It was 8-bit graphics.
8-bit, 16-bit, Castlevania 2, Super Castlevania. Alright. So, I'm still writing that down.
What do you have to say about the time?
Well, comparing Doctor Who to Castlevania, one of the main storyboard artists, the content director of Castlevania, he sat down and he wrote out a timeline for Castlevania, and he was like, this game took place in this time period, and over the years there's been dozens of Castlevania games. He's like, this one's during, the 1400s, this one's during the 1600s, this one's present day Castlevania where Dracula is resurrected. And then they kind of ran out of timelines, so they went into the future. They're like, well, this one Castlevania game is, 2044 where Dracula gets resurrected. And then after so many years, they're interviewing this Castlevania storyboard director, and he goes, I really regret writing down a timeline for Castlevania because I felt like it really typecasted the entire series, and now we don't really have a time frame to explore anymore because we've kind of written out the entire time frame. So here's my question about Doctor Who. After so many seasons and so many serials, they go over different periods of Earth where you kind of just, it feels like it's filled out the history of Earth. But here's the cool thing is the TARDIS it travels in time. So do we ever have, we have the Doctor here on Earth during the French Revolution or the Massacre, and then he travels forward and then backwards and then forwards. Yeah. Does he ever go back during the same timeline? And is he ever on Earth as a new generation of the Doctor, having adventures somewhere else on the planet during the same year that he, in a previous timeline, during the same year was a previous generation? Does the timeline ever get so crowded to where he's like in the same year in a different place, having two different serials? And if so, is there ever an episode where it explores him running into himself where he's traveled back in time and then had many adventures and then traveled back in time again to the very same place, same time, and sort of runs into a previous generation of himself?
Alright.
That was my weird question. I was sitting there, I was wondering, after so many years, do they ever just run out of events and timelines?
Okay. There's a lot of history to the Earth. And there's a lot of history, a lot of future history, a lot of...
infinite. You can just keep going and keep going.
Correct, and they do. There's 51st century stuff in Doctor Who. There's the end of the universe stuff in Doctor Who. Okay, generally speaking, there's so much history the Doctor doesn't have to ever run into himself. Saying that, there are a lot of times when the Doctor does run into himself. In Doctor Who,
are those two different regenerations of the Doctor?
Yes.
Is that ever the same generation of the Doctor that runs into himself?
Once in a while. Okay, hold on.
It's weird.
Yes.
And confusing.
You should not ever cross your own timeline.
That's it creates a space-time continuum rip in the space fabric.
Right. However, the Ninth Doctor does it a couple of times. Well, at least once with the...
Is that like a Time Lord law? Like fixed points in time?
Well, it's a problem. It can create divergences or rips in the fabric of space and time.
No, divergences are basically the timeline tearing and creating alternate dimensions?
It can.
Timelines?
Yes, it can. Okay. So hold on. Hold on.
The fixed point in time theory, that shouldn't be possible because nothing in the past can be changed, so they shouldn't be able...
Let me explain. Certain points in time and space are fixed. Lots of others are not. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The others that are not, there are occasions, very rare, where the Doctor meets himself or sees himself in the same time in the same place. Eccleston does it. That's the Ninth Doctor. The guy with the black jacket there in the bottom. No, the bottom. Yes.
Leather jacket.
Leather jacket.
There are a lot of black jackets.
He does this during the episode where Rose meets her father. Father's Day. It's called Father's Day. Anyway, he does that once or twice. But generally speaking, the Doctor does not meet himself. Except there are specific... There's a tradition in Doctor Who where every 10th anniversary, they have an anniversary episode where it's a multi-Doctor episode. The 10th anniversary of the show has the 3 Doctors. It's called the 3 Doctors. And it has the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Doctors. The 20th is the 5 Doctors. And has the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th Doctors. So skipping the 5th, he's in there only in a cameo, essentially.
I have a question about the anniversaries, because you have, say, a generation of the Doctors, for example, Hartnell. And Hartnell, it covers, Hartnell's story from the time where he picks up Ben and Polly, non-stop sort of back-to-back adventures until he regenerates. And then it sort of does that same thing with every other Doctor, correct? It covers his back-to-back adventures until he regenerates. So, like, where do they fit in these anniversary episodes canonically where because he has companions at that point in time, where does he get away from the Doctor Who timeline to where he travels into these anniversary specials?
Right. Canonically, the Doctor in his previous form will normally have at least one of his old companions with him.
Okay.
For example, in the 5th Doctor, the first Doctor, who's played by a different actor, because unfortunately Hartnell's dead by that point, he has his daughter Susan with him, played by the same actress.
So that is before he met Ben?
No, it's not necessarily. We don't know.
Because it
we assume it would be.
Because it covers like back to back to back everything that happened from that point until his regeneration, because it goes to this adventure and then this adventure and they're still wearing the same clothes, and to the next adventure wearing the same clothes.
We assume it would be, but he has Susan with him. The 2nd Doctor has Jamie with him. The 3rd Doctor has... it's 5 Doctors and includes all the first 5 Doctors.
Right.
The 3rd Doctor has Sarah Jane Smith with him, who is a companion during the 3rd and 4th Doctors. The 4th Doctor, who is sent into some limbo because the actor didn't want to be there, which is Tom Baker, my favorite Doctor, has Romana 2 with him. Sorry, I'm drunk. The 5th Doctor has one of his current companions, or several of his current companions with him. So the Doctor meets himself on the 10th anniversary and the 20th anniversary in several of his incarnations. And they continue this later on. For the not for the 25th anniversary, but around that time, the 7th Doctor has a series or serial called The Two Doctors, which is him and the 2nd Doctor, who shows up with Jamie again. The 7th Doctor, the 2nd Doctor is there, and the 7th Doctor is the one on the top right. Him. And they have one called The Two Doctors, and the 7th and the 2nd Doctor are together. During the 30th anniversary, the show's off the air, but they still have a serial with a bunch of not a serial, a one-off special with a bunch of the Doctors, all the living ones at that point. During the 40th anniversary, the show's off the air for the 2nd time. They didn't do anything, but for the 50th anniversary, they have the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, and the War Doctor. For the 60th, well, we have 3-4 more years to go, and we'll see. But but the Doctor meets himself several times. Oh, and in the 50th, there's the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, the War Doctor, and the 4th Doctor makes a reappearance as the caretaker. And it's heavily implied that he's a version of the Doctor from the future, reliving one of his old faces.
Okay.
So it's the same actor playing possibly a future Doctor.
So that uses up one of the regenerations.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. But it's awesome. That's Tom Baker, and he's still alive. He's the oldest Doctor still alive.
Cool.
And the furthest back Doctor still alive. Both are correct. Long live Tom Baker. Okay, so anyway,
I have another timeline question.
Wait, what?
So,
okay.
Let's say...
Are we not done with your questions?
Let's say we have the Doctor who travels to a point in time where he meets a threat that's going to take place within...
We're still going back. Okay.
So
I was checking the battery. We've been going a while.
So we have the doctor. He travels to a certain point in time where he knows where there's a threat. And this threat is going to do something terrible tomorrow. And so let's say...
And he knows this because he's been there.
Yes. So let's say the doctor waits that day and then travels back in time. And then here he is with his past self. And then he waits the day and then travels back in time, and there's a third present him with two past selves. And then he waits the day, travels back in time, and there's present him with three past selves. Can the doctor just make an army of himself to meet this threat and keep traveling back in time to where there's like 100 doctors that can then face this inevitable threat that's happening?
Normally, no, but it actually happens once.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
In the 50th, in the 50th anniversary special, all of the doctors, all 11 of the current doctors, 12 including the War Doctor, and even the 13th Doctor, who's not the Doctor yet, Capaldi, show up to help encapsulate Gallifrey and save Gallifrey from the Daleks.
But do they ever like make copies of themselves by like waiting a day, traveling back?
Not generally, no. Although in a slight,
theoretically, they could.
In a bit of a way that kind of happens in the Doctor's daughter.
Okay.
But not really because he doesn't.
So he has a granddaughter and a daughter. Well, he has to have a daughter to have a granddaughter.
Well, or a son. But the doctors obviously had children in the past, assuming you believe that Susan is the Doctor's actual granddaughter, and we do. But the Doctor has a kind of a daughter that's kind of a clone of him, but female in the Doctor's daughter, which is a 10th Doctor serial.
I'm confused. The daughter regenerates as a female to
no.
daughter of what?
No.
A
the
female
Doctor is cloned.
Cloned.
And the clone ends up being a female for some reason, which makes no sense.
Like same DNA, different.
Ish, yeah. And but Tennant, who played the 10th Doctor, the Doctor's daughter, the woman who plays the clone of him, he ends up marrying. And
he marries himself.
No, he marries her in real life.
Oh, the actors.
The actress, right. The actor and the actress marry each other in real life. Okay. And she is the daughter of the 5th Doctor, Davison.
I'm very confused.
Okay,
I'll go back and watch this when I'm sober to make sense of it.
So, the 5th Doctor, Davison, the one right there, the youngest looking one with the celery.
The people
with celery on his vest.
Yes.
Okay. He has a daughter. That daughter ends up on Doctor Who playing the Doctor's daughter.
No.
Even though she is the daughter of a doctor, but she's playing the daughter of this doctor, but she's a human being, an actress. Marries the actor who is Tennant in real life.
Oh my goodness.
So she's both the wife and daughter of the Doctor.
That's so convoluted, and it's absolutely wonderful.
I'm my own grandpa, kind of thing.
That's weird.
No,
it's weird right? When you put it like that, but like, I know the jokes, the memes. I don't know if I've heard the specific song you're referencing.
Wait, you don't know I'm my own grandpa?
It's a song?
It's a song.
Maybe. I've heard things like that.
Okay.
I've heard people go over different...
Okay, there's a...
I have to go to the bathroom again.
Oh my gosh.
You sing the song, you tell
I'll
me the story.
Talk
about the
copyright
timeline.
issues?
I'll be right.
Well, they run it.
Copyright issues are for people that have viewers. We don't have to worry about copy strikes because we're not successful.
Okay. Okay. So the song "I'm My Own Grandpa" is a Ray Stevens song, but the original basis for it is I believe a Ray Bradbury story called "All You Zombies," which is good, really good, and it talks about. And it was made into a movie recently. called Predestination. Really good movie. And it's about a guy who ends up having sex with a later female version of himself because he turns out to be a hermaphrodite, and giving birth to a son who later on is him. That's the story, all you zombies, because the character's like, well, this was me and this was me and this was me, and the only people in my life that are real are me, so who are all you zombies? And the movie Predestination plays that perfectly. But the song I'm Your Own Grandpa by Ray Stevens takes a different tact on it by explaining that he marries the woman who's the mother of his stepmother who married his dad. And so he ends up becoming his own grandpa. Well, step-grandpa or whatever, but it's a funny song. I don't know if I can sing it all by the time he gets back. I don't know if it won't break any copyright stuff, but Ray Stevens, my apologies to you for any damage I do to your song. I'm sorry, but hopefully this will only help it. Hey, there you are.
So, we covered it?
I haven't sung the song, but it's okay.
I have one more timeline question.
What? Okay, so we're skipping the song.
Last timeline question. You'll sing for me.
I'm good. This is what, like a 3-hour serial?
Last timeline question. Oh my gosh. So we have, let's say, our fixed timeline.
I'm sorry, orange juice.
Here's the future. Here's the past. It's a fixed timeline. We have fixed...
No, timelines are not fixed.
Well, we have fixed points in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Historical fixed points in time, which no matter how you interact with them...
Right, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln will always happen no matter what.
It's a fixed point of time.
Yeah.
No matter how you interact with it, it will always take place.
No matter what, yeah.
But outside of fixed points in times, you can have interactions which change, create a rip in time. It creates an
alternate timeline, yeah.
So let's say here, this fixed point in time is the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
No. Well, yeah, okay.
We have a doctor, or let's not say the doctor, let's say a Time Lord. So like the monk, a time meddler.
Okay.
Let's say a Time Lord does not like how Abraham Lincoln being assassinated affects the timeline. But because it's a fixed point in time, it cannot be changed.
Right.
Let's say he travels back in time, interacts with something in the timeline that is not a fixed point in time, creating a alternate dimension. Within that alternate dimension, he can then interact with things to change, have further and further branches until he,
doesn't matter. Lincoln will be killed in
he'll still be killed in every one of them.
Yes.
So no matter, so let's say, okay.
But, okay, in Doctor Who, there are occasions where the entire universe is reset.
Wow.
Yes, there are occasions where the entire universe is completely reset and rebooted from what is remembered and what exists. Think the Pandora opens, the Big Bang, that kind of stuff.
So we have the timeline and future, past, fixed points in time, historical events. Even when you create an alternate dimension, it just creates another version of the same timeline with the same fixed points.
Well,
the assassination of Abraham Lincoln is going to happen in every timeline.
Well, that's a big thing in science fiction. In science fiction, there are always points that can't be changed.
Ah.
But there's a whole bunch of smaller crap around it that can be changed.
Okay.
Like was it a Ray Bradbury story or a Heinlein story where there was a guy who knew Lincoln was going to be assassinated, and he went to try and explain to everybody he was going to be assassinated, couldn't stop it, but because people listened, because he knew people listened to him later, and his family became prosperous as politicians and just in general. So the big things can't be stopped, but the little things can change.
Alternatively, I think someone would have, his family would have not been prosperous, because he would say that Lincoln's going to be assassinated. It happens, everyone would then think because he knew it was going to happen, he had something to do with it.
But they didn't in this story. They didn't in this story. So he becomes kind of a hero, and things change. But the little stuff can change. The big stuff cannot. The doctor cannot change the outcome of the Second World War. The doctor cannot change Lincoln being assassinated. The doctor cannot change him being killed at certain points. But he can change smaller things or save smaller people. And that shows up regularly, and those things can be changed in both Doctor Who and in general science fiction.
So each Time Lord's regeneration is so significant that it qualifies as a fixed point in time?
Not necessarily,
where it
no.
can't be proven? But
no,
some
do, some don't.
Okay. So could a Time Lord theoretically, he's about to run out of regenerations. He goes back in time to prevent himself dying that's not a fixed point in time, therefore saving him another regeneration?
The Master attempts to do something like that at one point, I think. Oh my gosh. It's complicated.
It is?
It's complicated. And the Doctor has a future version of himself called the Valeyard, which attempts to undo the Six Doctors stuff. And it's okay, in theory, yes. In reality, I'm not sure if we've seen that. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with that.
We'll see.
It's complicated.
It is very
You've got a whole lot of canon here. And I'm drunk. And
that concludes my very off-topic theoretical timeline.
Okay.
Hypothesis.
Hypotheses.
Hypothesize.
Hypotheses.
Thesis. My
hypothesis is the singular. Hypotheses.
That concludes my timeline thesis. Theses.
No. Thesis. All right. So
is thesis both the singular and the plural?
Theses? I don't know.
Theses.
I think.
Theses.
I'm not 100% sure.
Theses.
I don't know. All right. So the Macra Terror, we watched the Reconstruction, but it actually has been animated.
Speaking of the Reconstruction, those DVDs, sometimes the quality is meh, because that DVD we're watching the interview with one of the actors, it kind of has some audio qualities, some visual, there's like that staticky wobble at the bottom of the screen.
That's because it was put on a DVD-R from videotape. It was originally done on video.
So it's the videotape that has like that kind of...
Yeah, it's the VHS that has the lines at the bottom of the wobble. You're not old enough to know this, but...
I had VHS tapes.
You do, but you're not old enough to remember all that.
I don't remember.
Okay, but the VHS...
My point is the conversion from VCH to DVD. Sometimes these... What did I say?
You said VCS.
Oh, VHS. The VHS tape to DVD, like these reconstructions, sometimes have quality issues.
Yes.
Okay. So the DVD came like that. It's not because I aged it.
Well, it had the quality issues because it was basically a digital recording of an analog VHS tape, and the VHS tape had the lines and stuff. But eventually, all this stuff's hopefully going to be animated by the BBC, so they can put it on DVD and then on Blu-ray, and that'll be awesome. And I fully support that, and I will buy every single bloody animated serial, and then I will buy all the Blu-rays, because I want them on Blu-ray, because I will support Doctor Who in all of its forms. At least until Whittaker. Okay, so... We watched the Reconstruction of the Macra Terror, and it's been animated, but we don't have it yet here in the U.S. We should hopefully get it sometime next year. The next serial, the Faceless Ones, is the 35th serial of Doctor Who. 6 episodes.
6 episodes. The faceless ones?
Right, the faceless ones. 2 of which exist, 4 are missing. It is the current serial being animated. So we'll watch it in a reconstruction with 2 existing episodes, and then hopefully eventually watch it in reconstruction. Probably in animation. The Evil, the Daleks is the next serial. 7 episodes.
The Daleks come back.
Right, they keep coming back. 7 episodes, 1 of which exists, 6 of which are missing, but that is the rumored next animation. So they're literally going through season 4 here and going boom, 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 animating all the missing stuff. So hopefully they can release it eventually on DVD or on Blu-ray. That means they've got to go back and do the Highlanders, which will be awesome. Because that'll be eventually the only missing serial. From season 4, they're going through and animating everything. Half the episodes are missing, but they're being animated. They've got to do the Smugglers and the Highlanders and the Evil, the Daleks, and they'll be able to release it. For season 5, the Abominable Snowmen, Fury from the Deep, Will in Space, and then season 6, only the Space Pirates. 1 single serial to animate, and they can release it on Blu-ray. And there's a couple. Oh man, season 3 has a whole bunch of crap ton that need to be animated. Season 2, just the Crusade. Season 1, just Marco Polo. So as you're going through and doing all these Polo, they're currently working on the second Doctor because they already have the characters of Ben and Polly and Jamie and the Doctor, and they're animating those because they already have the characters made. And I think they'll continue to do that and hopefully continue all the way through, finish up with the second Doctor, and then hopefully go back and animate the stuff from the first Doctor, and hopefully be able to release it all on Blu-ray as they continue. Now, tomorrow is the release of Pertwee's 4th season.
On Blu-ray?
Yeah, wait. Yes, on Blu-ray.
Cool.
Season 10 of Doctor Who, which includes the 3 Doctors, the 10th anniversary special, is being released literally tomorrow, October 15th.
Hey.
And I will have it on the shelf here for y'all next week. It'll be up there, yeah. Here-ish. No, third shelf. Wait. Yeah, third shelf. It'll be here. Whoops. Okay. Oh my gosh. Any more questions?
So, we have our first new title sequence. The second Doctor
where they show the Doctor's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed the sort of psychedelic stuff. They show the Doctor's face. They show the Doctor Who logo, title. I like the new intro. Same music, psychedelic. Feels like it has more direction with you showing the Doctor's face in the title.
For the third Doctor, sometimes
it feels like you're traveling through space and time. It's like
correct
in Star Wars where they go at light speed. You're traveling forward rather than the first title sequence, which was kind of just like a wiggling line to represent the time travel.
It's pointing a camera at a monitor, which is feedback of the camera at the monitor.
Yeah.
That's what creates that effect.
So it's a cool psychedelic, weird effect, but it doesn't necessarily convey the space-time travel like you're moving in a direction. Where the second title sequence does, it has forward movement as the title's coming at you and it's going past you.
I can agree.
I like it. It has more direction. It's more.
They continue to improve over time.
Yeah. But I really like this second one.
Cool.
Right. So talking about DVD qualities, new title sequence. We talked about all my timeline questions.
All that stuff, man.
We talked about the titles of people, like why do they call him Pilot? It's a title, he doesn't really have a name. It's, they're weird. So we talked about 1984. We talked about Ben being more susceptible to brainwashing because he has that military-minded following orders.
Right, following orders. Yeah.
We talked about the Earth colony and where the Macra Terror kind of takes place on Earth and then colonizing other planets.
And they come back much later.
Much later. Finally, I have one last question about the really sudden ending of the serial. And it's like we have this scene break where we have the one scene where they're stuck in the boiler room and they're being gassed out, and Ben is reversing the polarity and he creates the gas explosion, and then cut. And then they're, rejoicing, dancing, celebrating, credits. So what happens in between that where, they're being gassed out, the guards are trying to get them, and then...
Screenplay. That's the name of that word, screenplay.
Screenplay. So at one point, this entire colony of people are brainwashed and militarized, and they have weapons. And it takes a long time for this brainwashing to wear off, as we see with Ben. Even though it's the first time he was brainwashed, they interrupted his sleep once when Jamie was talking to him. They interrupted his sleep again in the morning before dawn.
But it takes maybe 8 or 10 hours for it to wear off.
So you have this entire society of people that are brainwashed, yet, we have this boiler room where the doctor and his companions are captured. And you have this entire colony of people that are against these strangers, and then all of a sudden they're rejoicing. They're like, "Oh, you saved us from the Macra Terror." What happened in between those two scenes to where they went from being brainwashed people, 8 to 10 hours for this brainwashing to wear off, to where all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, yeah, you guys were the good guys. Macra Terror's the bad guys."
They're still brainwashed, but they're we don't know if there's when they get rid of the controller Macra, if there's an instant disconnect and they're all happy about it, or if Pilot takes command and tells them the doctor and everybody are good. But either way, that works because he can say, "Hey, these guys are great. They saved us. Yay!" Everybody will go with it because they obey orders.
Oh, okay.
Or there's the theoretical possibility that everything's been snapped when the controller was snapped, and they go, "Hey, wait, what? Okay, good. We're going to celebrate these guys." We don't know which happens. It happens too fast. It happens in Reconstruction.
It is, but either way, it's Reconstruction. That's probably mostly why I got lost, was because it's reconstructed, it's visual stills, it's kind of hard to follow.
We'll have the animation soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we'll watch it and discuss it along with something else, or maybe by itself. Okay. Anything else?
That's my last question.
Yay! Okay, we're done for this week. Alright, this was episode 34 of the Macra Terror. We'll be next week hopefully with the faceless ones. And we'll see you then. 6 episodes.
Thank you for joining us on our 3-hour special podcast.
Yeah.
Tangents, off topics, Doctor Who, space-time theory.
Alright, goodbye.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next week.
Signing off. I feel like